I got the ugliest. I'm gonna see if I show you the ugliest snowman sticker.
Oh, a little over to the. So is he supposed to? It looks like a melted snowman.
Yeah, but my favorite thing, his face is he's very cognizant of the fact that he's melting, and he's very irritated about it. Not mad, just kind of like.
Not mad. Like it's just kind of ruining his day.
Honestly, the expression I've got on his face is, this might as well happen, which we've all been there. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me, he's just like.
For those of you who can't see, like, yeah, he just looks like, ugh, fine. What? Why not? Why not?
Yeah.
That's what that snowman looks like.
Welcome to May the Force Live Long and Prosper. I'm Dietrich Stogner.
I'm Kate Pay.
And every week we either watch Star Wars The Clone Wars, which I've never seen, or
we watch Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which I have never seen.
Few new things that are happening this week. So
we'll
talk a little bit. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit at the end about some more housekeeping stuff. But if you are the type that prefers to consume your podcast in video form, well, this episode is actually going to be up on YouTube. Our Christmas special, if you weren't able to see that or listen to that, is already on YouTube. And we're going to start posting these as we go up. And then we'll talk about the other big change we're making at the end of the episode, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about it. But first, because of the way we record, this is the first time I've talked to you since the holidays. So how were your holidays, Kate?
They were very good. They were very chill. Christmas was good. Christmas is always hectic because I have 4 nieces in my house at Christmas time because my sister and my brother, like, we all had girls, and it's just very loud and chaotic.
Yeah.
But I like it that way because I come from a big family. So I just want to sit there and have a drink and watch the chaos swirl around us. So that was fun. And we're not New Year's people. Like, we sat on the couch and tried to make it to midnight and failed miserably and ordered way too much Chinese food. That's what we did for New Year's.
Listen, so for the holidays, we didn't do much. We just kind of chilled out. I do want to share, and Kate's gotten a preview of this, but every year my mother reaches out to me and asks me to specifically tell her 4 things. Very specific. She wants links to things I want for Christmas. She gives me the price limit because she doesn't want to spend a lot of money. She doesn't want to spend a lot of time searching, and she wants to make sure I get something I like, which, you know what? That's very, very kind. And this year, I sent her 4 books. You know, not expensive, an easy gift to wrap. I love that.
Yeah,
there's something about an easily wrapped gift. And so for Christmas this year, I got and if you can't see the video right now, I'm wearing a very stylish beanie that has a headlamp in the front of it. And not just a headlamp, like...
So, you know, when you're driving down a dark, like, back road, friends, and someone's got their brights on and you hate them? That's what that light looks like. Yeah.
So this is my Christmas gift from my parents. Very stylish, you see. I'm going to wear this until my head starts sweating, I think. I think that's a great way to...
The thing is, I knew you were about to pull out of that bag, and I still thought there were books coming.
No books. None whatsoever.
I was like, oh, I'm going to see some books. There are no books.
New Year's, we usually go to New Year's with a group of friends here. We didn't this year. My wife had a minor surgical procedure. Everything went great. She's doing wonderful. Literally the day before New Year's. So we chilled at home and relaxed. But the funny part is the group that we go celebrate New Year's with, a couple of years ago, we all universally decided that East Coast midnight is fine. So we just watch the East Coast ball drop, and then we all go home and go to sleep. So for those of you who are listening, you can now know that Kate and I are very cool.
We are so cool. We totally...
Yeah,
totally cool. I think we both talked about this on our respective like channels, but are you a New Year's resolution guy or?
Yeah. Not resolutions. Well, okay, I always say this and people are pointing out, like, this is basically what... I usually come up with a few goals for this year.
Yeah, I'm a goal person. I think the word resolution is very broad.
Yeah.
I find it too broad, whereas, like, I like goals. I like both small and big goals. And then when I hit the small goals, I feel really confident and good about myself. Like, it's a psychological thing. So I like both big and small goals for the year.
Well, do we want to share a couple of our goals for this upcoming year?
Sure, we can share some of our goals. You want to go first?
Sure.
I need my list, because
I will say,
lists.
Kate and I have talked quite a bit about this because I needed her advice on a few things. So I am embarking on an effort to get into shape, which I think a lot of people do around the new year. And I have started a Couch to 5K program.
Yeah.
And one of the things you told me early on, because I was not excited about this, let's be fair.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke to my physical therapist, talked to them about it, and they suggested that I do this. They thought it'd be a good idea. And I was not looking forward to it. I don't like running it. Kate really helped me by saying, it's going to be a little difficult in the beginning, but you're going to hit a point where you really start to look forward to it and enjoy it. And so what I would like to announce now is that my co-host is a goddamn liar, because that point is so far in the distance. I think we're going to experience the heat death of the universe. I really, listen.
When you hit that point, I'm going to be so fucking smug.
Yes, you are.
I'm gonna be so self-righteous and proud of myself and be like, I told you so.
Okay. Yeah.
I am.
And for those watching the video right now, they can see, they're looking at me going, this guy, no, he should not be running. Take the hat off first. Don't run with the hat on. But
running is it's such an acquired taste. It is.
People always say that about bad things.
No, because there's so many different ways to move your body, and I'm always find ways to move your body that brings you joy. I have been a runner since I was in middle school. I ran track, I did cross country. That's what I did. That's the I don't call myself an athlete. Even when I was in high school and running track, I was I'm not an athlete. We ran in circles like little bunnies. Please, not I was out there playing football. Calm down. But it is such an acquired taste, and it's also one of those things where you have to really reach a very zen place, especially if you're going to run more than a lap.
Yeah, didn't you run 4 miles the other day? I
ran 4 miles the other day, and I'm a big music person while I exercise. I know some people that they'll listen to podcasts while they run. They'll listen to audiobooks. They have to find ways to kind of distract themselves from the actual running of it all. Whereas
I really hope no one's listening to this episode while they're running, because there's just me in their ear going, this is horrible. It's terrible. It's miserable. Why are you doing this?
Don't do it. I don't have good advice for other than to just stick with it. The Couch to 5K is a great app. I recommend it to everybody. It's how I got back into running after I had my daughter, because I stopped for the longest time after I had her. Just keep with it, and you will look forward to it, because it's it becomes this very zen place to put your brain. I know you don't believe me.
See.
I know you don't believe me.
I don't. I think you're a liar. So, but that's okay. What about you? What are you looking forward to this year?
So one of them I've already done. I wanted to kind of take my personal TikTok and Instagram channels, and I kind of wanted to start having more fun with them. I was not having fun on social media at all.
Weird.
So weird that I wasn't having fun in this very manufactured internet place. And so that's something I really wanted to put forward with the new year, was just kind of go back to just posting whatever I wanted, whether it was talking about Star Wars or talking about comic books or posting videos of me running. So it's kind of become a very I called it, my new channel is called Kate's Clutter, because it's like a cluttered desk. It's like I dumped all my toys out on the desk, and I'm just going to share that with everybody. So that's one goal I had. The other goal I had was, I have some reading goals. It's some big reading goals this year. I want to read more Star Wars books. So if anybody out there wants to get into more reading Star Wars books, I'm going to very sporadically read Star Wars books. I'm reading The Last Order now, though. I'm about 200 pages in. It's really good. It's
You know what we should do once this year to help support that resolution? We should do a special episode that's all about a specific Star Wars book.
We should. Star Wars books are great. I know there are Star Trek books too. Right?
There are. Yeah, we could do one of each.
I think they're great. I love serialized stuff like that. And then I also have one unhinged goal that will definitely come true, guys.
Definitely.
It'll definitely.
Oh yeah, I think I remember this one. Yeah.
You remember this one? I would like Dave Filoni to come on our podcast.
Yeah, Dave, anytime, just shoot us an email. May the Force Live Long and Podcast at gmail.com. Yeah. We'll be standing by our...
Yeah, we'll let you know what episode of Deep Space Nine you're going to watch with us.
Listen, I actually... You know what? I know which Star Trek book we should read. We should read the one I got kicked out of Little League for reading in right field. Yes! That's the one. I still know which one it is, too. So that's the one we'll do sometime this year. And we'll make sure to give everybody a plenty of heads up. Also, credit to my mom. This thing is well insulated. I am dying. So give me just a moment to take this off.
You take that off.
But this week, we are on a Deep Space Nine week. I'm very excited. I was looking forward. I had not watched this episode in a long, long time, I will say. And as I was watching it, I remembered, we'll talk a little bit more about this at the end, but we're in season 1 of a Star Trek series, which is traditionally dangerous ground. And so far, this is a good episode. So I've been excited to talk to you about it.
I finished it, and all I could think was I'm excited to talk to Dietrich about this episode.
Yes. Why don't we...
Do you want me to get started?
Let's go ahead and kick it off. Tell us about this episode, Kate.
This episode's called Babel. It's season 1, episode 5. I can't believe we're 5 episodes in already.
Right.
And it originally aired January 24th, 1993. So we're almost lining up, babe. We're almost lining up with these things. All right.
We're getting close.
We're getting close. Okay. So this episode opens up, and I would like to hereby dub this opening scene as O'Brien's horrible, no good, terrible, very bad day. Because this poor
I'm going to write that down as a possible title, because that's a solid one.
This poor man, let me tell you, friends, O'Brien cannot catch a break, okay? He is fixing all kinds of stuff. Everything's broken, and everybody wants it fixed right away.
It's interesting. I think this is something we haven't really touched that much upon since the pilot, which is, this is not a Federation starship. Like, he came from the flagship where everything was shiny and perfect and worked great. And you very much get the sense this station's a jalopy. Like, this is...
Like, I guess there's no OSHA in the Star Trek world. Also, like, I want to talk to, like, their HR department. Nobody has a backup. We'll get back to this with, like, Dr. Bashir, but there's no backups. Like,
yeah.
Like, O'Brien doesn't have, like, a second or an assistant. I feel like he deserves one. You know. You
do feel, I think you get the sense that this was very much almost a skeleton crew to kick off, because they didn't know what this was going to be at first.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like when the wormhole's discovered, you're like, okay, let's go ahead and send some crew out there. Maybe they're working on those transfers right now. We don't know.
We should be bumping up the crew. Just saying, because O'Brien cannot catch a break. Like, it was like very like, fix the navigator, Cinderella. Fix the replicator, Cinderella. Like, I felt bad for him. So he's fixing stuff all around, and he's fixing important things, let me be clear, like the navigational system.
Yeah, like there are people trapped in an airlock at a certain point that he's trying to get out.
But then Captain Sisko, like, not for nothing, but buddy, like, his coffee tastes bad because the replicator's broken. And I'm like, okay, people trapped in an airlock, navigational system broken, bad coffee.
Although the funny thing is, the replicators become one of the central issues of this whole episode.
This is true, and he does drop everything that he's doing to fix the replicator for Captain Sisko so he can have a good cup of coffee.
Can we talk a little bit though about O'Brien, who is a veteran? Like, he has been in Starfleet for a long time. He is disciplined. He is effective. You get to see a man hit his breaking point, because the shade he throws back at Sisko.
So shady, and I loved it. I was like, you deserve to be that petty right now.
Oh yeah. Like, the fact that Sisko didn't say anything, you kind of get the sense Sisko was like, oh no, I shouldn't have done that.
I maybe overstepped there for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, while he's fixing this replicator, a strange machine, like, they pan back behind the replicator, like back in the innards, and there's something attached to it, and it starts blinking. And of course, in my head, I'm like, bomb?
Yeah.
Is it a bomb? It's not a bomb. Spoilers, friends. It's not a bomb. Nothing blows up.
I have a question, because this leads us into the theme, and I don't think we've talked about this yet. So first of all, do you skip the theme song?
It depends where I am. Like, if I'm watching, I think the day I watched this, I let it play through. Sometimes I let it play through. Sometimes I skip it. It just kind of depends what kind of mood I'm in.
I don't think we've talked about the opening theme yet, which I will say may be my favorite Star Trek theme. I really like such a gorgeous piece of music. It follows the Next Generation style of that kind of optimistic, expansive thing. And plus the visuals of the entire thing really kind of luxuriate on the station, the wormhole, everything like that. It's terrific. And I don't think we'd brought it up before, so I just wanted to...
no, it's very nice. Yeah. Okay. So then we cut to Odo and Quark. They're hanging out in a very empty Quark's bar. But I just want to go ahead and state for the record that they are clearly best friends.
Listen, the relationship between Odo and Quark is one of the first things this show establishes. I will tell you, it is a running theme throughout the entire series. It's terrific.
They're just sitting there shooting the shit, and Odo's like, your bar's pretty empty, man. Which is a little mean to say to your best friend, but I'll allow it. And then there's a customer who is big mad because his soup is gross.
I wrote down an alien Biff. Because he's a bully. Like, he's legitimate.
He's so mean about it. And this is how we find out that Quark's replicators are broken too. So, like, does nobody have good tasting food right now?
I don't think so.
Oh my god. I wonder if we have any of those ration bars left. We'll have to go break down Jake's bed.
You're still so bitter about that.
We'll get to the bed. There's something coming later. Anyway, so The Quark's replicators are broken. There's a waiting list for O'Brien to fix it.
Oh, yeah.
Again, does the man have no extra help? There's a freaking waiting list. Holy crow. Odo, like, makes a casual statement that, like, the one up on, like, the command center is working, and Quark's like, interesting. And, like, immediately you're like, oh, he's gonna go steal some shit.
Yeah.
We
get a fun little hacking scene, too.
We do, yeah. He goes and he does some hacking.
And I want to say, there's a brief moment here, which it's not like specific, it's not this standout moment, but I think it's such a terrific choice by Armin Shimmerman, where, so he tries to access, he asks the computer, show me where all the working replicators are. The computer's like, hey, you don't have access. So he goes in a drawer and starts pulling out these circuit rods. I think they're isolinear rods. There's a choice he makes where he kind of like sorts through them, and like it feels very genuine. Like you get the sense just from his wordless performance, this is not the first time he's done this. Like,
no, this is something he's very well versed in.
Yeah, I thought it was a great little moment from Shimmerman.
I agree. I loved it. Clearly, he's up to no good, and that is fine because it's just gonna help escalate our problem later in the episode. So we cut to a new scene, and O'Brien all of a sudden on the deck is speaking just straight up word salad.
Yeah.
Just bonkers gibberish. I think
this is kind of a hard... So, a little bit of lore. There's a tradition in the first season of every Star Trek series to have the epidemic episode.
Okay.
The original series called The Naked something. Because I know the Next Generation's one's called The Naked Now, and they kind of connected those two. And they knew that they wanted to do one on Deep Space Nine. They didn't want to use the same one. So they came up with this aphasia virus, which we'll talk a little bit more about.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say.
Yeah.
This could have so easily been so cheesy. The moment O'Brien starts slipping into aphasia is really unsettling.
Yeah. It's very unsettling and here's the thing about aphasia, and for those who don't know what aphasia is a neurological disorder with speech, and it can prohibit you from understanding speech, and it can also prohibit you from speaking clearly. It's usually induced by like some kind of trauma, like usually head trauma.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about like what's causing this specific type of aphasia, but aphasia can be very frustrating. I've seen it in real patients. I used to be a nurse. For those who don't know, I've seen it in real patients. It's very frustrating because you can tell that they want to say something and they think they're saying it. And for someone to not understand you is one of the more frustrating things because we are a very verbal species.
Yeah.
So to speak and no one understands what you're saying, but you feel like you're getting your point across so clearly is so traumatizing, and you can see it written on O'Brien's face. Did a great job acting it out.
Yeah, it's this swing between fear and anger.
Yeah.
Also, one of the things I loved, and I looked this up about aphasia, is that because it's not a speech issue, it's a neurological, you can't just write down what you want to say because your brain is not translate. And they even show that at one point where he tries to write a message and show it to him, and it's still just gibberish.
Yeah, it's very much it's very neurological based. So that's why it's one of the more heartbreaking things to see happen to somebody. But before we can actually like figure out that he has aphasia, we cut back to where Dax and Kira are taking a walk, and they're talking about being like Dax is talking about like how strange it is to be in a woman's body, and they're having that kind of conversation. I wish we could have stayed in that scene a little longer. I understood why we couldn't, but we really it was a very quick moment, but I wish we could have stayed in it longer just to kind of let Dax have more time in those feelings, especially with the other woman in the crew.
Yeah. Which I think is funny because Dax is talking about how, she actually kind of likes being checked out as a woman. Meanwhile, Kira has the most weapons-grade resting bitch face that I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, it's the dichotomy of woman. I hope we get more of that just because they are the two women in the crew. It could have been a really interesting conversation, but it was cut quite short because they walk up on Quark's bar, which is now...
I wrote down Quark's having a super spreader party. I mean, again, at this point, we don't know that it's actually a virus.
We don't know. We can talk about that, though. Because I did write that down on my notes later on.
Yeah. Also, I do want to say, Quark offers them a double-whipped Adanian spice pudding. And usually in these shows, when they come up with a made-up food or something, it sounds gross. All I can think about is, I don't know what that is. I want to eat it.
You want it?
It sounds incredible.
I'm surprised you're not, like, trying to figure out, make your own recipe.
Well, now I am.
Now you are.
Now I am. Keep an eye on our socials. If I figure out a recipe, I'll post it there.
Post it, yes. Okay. So again, we have more moments. They find O'Brien. He's now like sweaty.
Yeah.
And the word salad is worse. So Kira, Bashir, and Cisco and Dax start to meet to kind of talk about what's happening with poor O'Brien. And Cisco points out what I was thinking is that there's no head trauma. So how do you have a neurological disorder with no head trauma because of the aphasia? While Bashir is tasked with figuring it out, Dr. Bashir's just in charge of like, hey, go be a doctor. Please stop being creepy and weird. Go be a doctor. So Bashir's in charge of that. Dax is reassigned O'Brien's work. But very quickly, she starts showing the same symptoms.
Yeah. Which is a great moment because that's when the show actually tells you, well, this isn't trauma.
No.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong, right. Because now she also has it. And the important part to remember is that when they were back at Quark's bar, I forgot to mention this, he offered them the pudding. Kira leaves. She's like, no, thanks. I'm good.
Yep. Dax takes it.
Dax takes it. She stays and eats. So that's an important part to understand of like figuring out what's going on. So Bashir very quickly figures out. I was honestly surprised at how quickly we get to like, it's a virus. Yeah. I thought maybe there'd be a little bit more mystery behind it, but we very quickly get to, it's a virus that's in their brains. And it's a very smart virus, actually. And Cisco immediately is like, time to quarantine.
Yes. We've talked about this before. One of the biggest characteristics of Cisco is that when it's time to make a decision, he does not hesitate.
Yeah.
Like, immediately locks down the whole station, which Captain Jahil, super happy about.
The guy who was stuck in the airlock.
Actually, no, remember? Other people were stuck there. He was the one who was bugging O'Brien to come fix his shit while O'Brien's trying to get these people out of the airlock.
That's right. You're right. I'm so sorry. Yeah. There's literally people stuck in an airlock and Jahil's like, hey,
Jahil's got strong, let me talk to your manager energy, like across the board.
Yeah, we'll come to him later. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we're on quarantine, and Odo walks by Quark's, and he literally is having a super spreader party. It's like when kids used to get chicken pox, and their parents were like, let's just all put all the children in a room together, and everybody gets chicken pox at once.
The only thing I will say to Quark's credit is at this point we don't know that the virus is actually deadly. Like, we know it's messing with people's heads, but we haven't had that moment where it breaks bad yet. But still, it's very... And his excuse is, people need recreation in a time like this, which I'm like, you would have been terrible during COVID, Quark.
Oh, that's why I wrote that. So he's like, basically Quark is like the equivalent of like, science is dumb, don't wear a mask, let's all have a good time because we're all big sad. What? It honestly made me a little uncomfortable. I was like, this feels a little too close to 2020. I'm a little tired. All right, but we cut to a new scene, and we have a Jake sighting. We haven't seen Jake since he started school, which is exciting. And he was late coming home because he was hanging out with Nog, and I'm glad that they're still friends. They're not going to let their dads keep them apart. I like that. No. Yeah. And then Captain Jahil shows back up because his crew wants to leave. And poor Cisco's like, do you not understand what quarantine means? I don't know. We're quarantined. You can't leave. And then I did, for a minute, feel real bad for Jahil because he, in a very real moment of fear, he was like, I don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
And I did feel bad for him in that moment.
That's a solid as much as we're giving him grief about being, talk to your manager energy, it's a great little glimpse at somebody who is not part of the process of solving this mystery, but is subject to the consequences of the mystery that's going on. And I don't think you get that very often. But I really like that performance where his voice breaks a little bit and he says, I don't want to get sick.
Yeah.
And the other thing is seeing that wall come down on Cisco's face where I cannot be, this is not a moment I can be sympathetic. This is a moment I have to be the commander of the station and no, you're not leaving.
Yeah, he's in a tough spot because you could see that kind of moment where he almost is like, I get it, but he's like, nope, I have to be the wall. So then we go to Quark, who is trying out his definitely not stolen replicator thing. There was no crime, except we saw the crime, but it's fine.
Yeah.
And Odo, literally just, pops up behind him.
Odo's the cart.
I could never, ever, ever commit a crime on Deep Space Nine. Not once ever, because I wouldn't trust I would be walking around poking random objects constantly. Are you Odo? Are you Odo? I wouldn't trust a single inanimate object on that ship. I would have such trust issues.
Odo definitely getting more clever, because he could have been a chair in the quarters. He could have been just about anything. To become the cart that Quark uses to go get all the food is amazing.
Brilliant.
He even commits to having the rattly wheel.
And then Quark says that Rom's an idiot.
They both do.
Damn, catching strays. The man's not even there to defend himself.
Yeah. No, I did enjoy that moment where the whole reason Odo realized he was doing something. He said Rom fixed the replicator. He's like, Rom couldn't... What is it? He fix a straw if it was bent?
And he's like, Rom's an idiot. Like, it literally says he's an idiot. I was like, oh my god, the man's not even here. And I really loved that scene. Like, and that's how I know they're best friends. They're bbest friends. So then we cut to Bashir, who has figured out that it is coming from the replicators.
Yeah.
And it's basically their food. And he thinks that more than one replicator has actually been compromised because random people are now showing up with aphasia. So it's not just Dax and O'Brien. It's now like people who are like just residents. And damn it, Quark, you and your party.
Yeah.
And a bigger problem, Bashir's also figured out that a virus is mutated, and now it's airborne. So now just anyone could catch it.
I hate to do this. I really, really do. Because he's got so much on his plate.
Yeah.
I think we need to add a task to O'Brien's list, which is install some goddamn HEPA filters. Because...
Put it on the waiting list.
Listen. So, one thing I will tell you. So, I think I've spoken about this before. I served in the Navy. I was on submarines. And one of the things we found several times, unfortunately, is that when a communicable illness gets in on a confined ship like that, it rips through the crew. It spreads terrifyingly fast. And I think one of the things I really like about this is how fast this accelerates. It feels like the stakes just keep piling on them faster than they can respond to it. It's a great moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the things you see with like cruise ships. It's one of the reasons I'll never go on a cruise, to be perfectly honest, because you see that with cruises too, is that one person gets sick and then suddenly everybody on the boat is sick. And that just doesn't interest me.
No, that doesn't sound like a fun little getaway.
Doesn't sound like a relaxing day at the beach. It just doesn't. I have no interest in that. So Kira is the one who finds the blinky thing that wasn't a bomb. And she, of course, super on brand, immediately blames the Cardassians.
Yeah. Okay. I love
totally valid.
Yes. We'll talk about this at the end. I love the story structure of this episode. Like, I deeply... They do such a great job. Because she even says, uses a Cardassian power supply. She's not just jumping to it. And yet, when we keep... Kira getting to play the investigator role in this episode was a lot of fun.
It was fun. I liked the different roles that people took on in this episode. I really enjoyed the kind of change and shift in people. We've got another problem, because down in the infirmary, Jake now has the virus. This poor kid cannot catch a break. But it's going to be okay, because you know what? At least down in the infirmary, he gets a bed.
I knew this was going to be your favorite part of the episode. Like, I was picturing you as that meme from from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Justice for Jake, he got a bed. And then while we're down there, Quark is literally shaking sick people down for money because he's
bill collecting in
a hospital. He's afraid that they're faking it to get out of paying their tab. Like, I forget who says it to, but like someone says like, well, who would do that? No one's that devious. And Quark's like, I am.
Yeah, Quark is very self-aware. Give him credit. Like, the man knows who he is.
I really like that. I was like, you know, it's important to know oneself. And then I wasn't shocked. I think maybe it was supposed to be played as a shock. I was very not surprised when we figure out that this disease was created by a Bajoran.
Yes.
I was not shocked at all. I was like, that makes sense. It used to be a Cardassian ship station, so it makes sense that they...
It also... Yeah. I think it's an effective turn, because initially you're predisposed to not trust the Cardassians, but if you think about it for more than a second, it doesn't make that's not a Cardassian style approach. That's not them. And this is a Bajoran thing that was planned when the Cardassians are in the station, which is a great little twist. Yeah,
it's a great twist. So Kira now is trying to figure out who made the disease, right? So that's what she's working on. She figures out Deacon Elig. I think that's his name.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Is the lead scientist. And meanwhile, O'Brien's getting sicker. Like, spikes of fever. Bashir can't figure it out. He can't figure out a cure. But then, of course, Bashir makes it weird by calling whoever created the virus a genius.
Yeah.
Listen, I get what he's saying, but also people are getting sicker. It's weird. Not all thoughts are outside thoughts, Bashir. That's all I'm
Well,
saying.
listen, we've learned his filter is not great.
Not. And I'm sitting there thinking he says that. Cisco's like, literally, he probably just told everybody his son has it, and he's like, this guy's a genius. And Cisco's probably like,
There's also a moment earlier on which I really, really enjoy, which is the doctor like getting super technical about the virus, like going into and finally Cisco like has zero patience with this, is like, shut up, tell me what I need to know.
I don't care that it's pretty.
Yeah.
God, please stop. So, and then Kira, of course, figures out that Deacon is dead, that there's a death certificate and everything. But she's honestly really good at the investigative stuff. Yeah. I was very impressed because she goes a little further. She asks who filed the death certificate, which is really smart because they may have a connection to the original doctor. And lo and behold, it was his assistant who filed. So now she's going to try and find him. In the meantime, Quark is pretty lonely.
I wrote down Quark playing with himself. That's not what I meant, but
I get.
Yeah.
But you wrote it, and now those words exist.
Yeah, those words definitely exist. They are in the notebook that I will one day give to Kate.
Thank goodness. Odo shows up. They kind of have a back and forth. He invites him to gamble, and Odo's like, I don't know how to play. So they have a nice back and forth, but then Odo like makes it like kind of like scary. He's like, if crime keeps happening, you're the only one who's going to be guilty because everybody else is sick.
Listen, solid point.
Solid point. Okay. This brings me to, again, we probably should hire some backups after this because then Bashir gets sick. And he's like the only doctor.
Yeah. I will say, like, the thing I love best about this episode, like, consistently, is this episode has a very, very specific structure, which is we're going to introduce a small problem, and then we're going to make it bigger. Then we're going to make it bigger. Then we're going to make it bigger. The stakes keep getting ramped up at exactly the right time, too. Where if they... Look, I will say, I did write down, this virus has an amazing sense of dramatic timing because Bashir stays healthy long enough to give us the information we need, and then he goes down at exactly the right time. But I think the structure of the episode, the way they put it together, the way they keep adding more threats, the way they don't give them a break in any way, the pacing of this is perfect, I think. Yeah. I think there's not a moment where we get to take a breath, and the danger to the crew and the station feels incredibly real throughout the entire thing.
Yeah. It's very well put together. Like I said, I very much enjoyed this episode, and I like the stakes keep going up.
Yeah.
As we're still trying to kind of unravel, like, basically, we just want a cure. And props again to Kira. So she finds the assistant, Sumac Ren. Sumac Ren? Or Sumac Ren? I think I'm saying it.
My handwriting's... I think, yeah.
My handwriting's trash, friends. I'm sorry. So she finds him, she gives him a little ring on the phone, and he literally hangs up on her.
Yeah, which...
It's just like, I do not want to be a part of this conversation. Boop.
Which immediately, like, suspicious as hell.
Right, like, just... a little makes you look a little guilty, Fred. Maybe just gonna hear her out. Anyway, poor Cisco's just terrified his son's gonna die. At this point, his wife is dead. His crew's speaking nonsense, and he's just like, "Wow, this place is terrible."
I just really wanted a moment where he cut to him and he's like, "Fucking Picard, I swear to God."
Well, my heart was breaking for him because, like, he's sitting there with Jake. Like, there's a 50-50 shot Jake doesn't even understand what he's saying because of the aphasia.
Yeah.
Jake can't say anything back to him. He's just to hold his son and be like, I love you, we're going to figure this out, even though he probably part of him's like, I don't know if we're going to figure this out. I just, like, my heart really broke for Cisco in that moment.
Also, we've talked a little bit about this before. It's a consistent thing, but the choice Avery Brooks and Sarah Clofton make to make their relationship really affectionate in a very, very close way. Like, there's never a doubt how close these two are. Yeah. Cisco's fear when he realizes, especially after O'Brien develops fever, and because O'Brien developing the fever is what puts a clock. Right. In fact, I think Bashir says, we got 12 hours and people are going to start dying.
Yeah.
And Cisco's fear in that quiet moment the two of them share is a genuinely affecting performance.
Yeah. And I love how just like, again, how like affectionate they are with one another. It's nice to see a father and son that like they hug, they embrace. It's you can tell how connected and how much they love each other. I really liked that moment. And my heart broke for Cisco in that moment, and it was wonderfully acted. In the meantime, Captain Jahil's like, we're leaving. I'm leaving. Just FYI, like, you're not stopping me.
And the docking
And he,
clamps are like, yeah, we are.
like, the docking clamps are like, we are actually. And like, I mean, like, he's gonna like literally blow up half the dock in his attempt to leave, which feels a little reckless. Maybe just stick around. I'm just saying, like, get out to space and get sick. Sure.
And we're down to like the last few people because Kira at this point, Kira left, which is
Kira left. She went to go try and get. She's like, I'm just gonna go get Sumac Ren. I'm just gonna go get him.
I really like that moment because Kira says, I need to leave and get this guy. Cisco goes, we're under quarantine, you can't leave. And Odo backs her. And
yeah, I love
they
that.
very much make the case of, we're out of options, we have to do this. So Kira's left, so it's literally Odo and Cisco, apparently the only ones on the station.
No, and Quark.
And Quark, yes.
Walking around bragging about how he didn't get it.
One of the things I kind of like about this Star Trek series tend to take the assumption of everyone being hyper competent. Like, everybody can do pretty much everything. Like, they're Jaguar's Faith. Really love Rene Auberjonois' performance when he gets to Ops and Cisco is asking him to help, and you realize he does not know how to do this. Like, it's the idea, and which makes sense. If you're a police officer and brought him on the bridge of a complete, like a station and said, hey, can you run this stuff? They're going to be like, no.
No.
Yeah.
So, in the meantime, she's so sassy when she beams up this doctor onto her ship. She's like, she's true to her word. She does not leave and go down to the planet. She does not. Which
she would never, like, she would not put Bajor in danger. Yeah.
She would never do that. She just beams him up.
I was watching that, and my note here is, Kate probably has the biggest grin on her face during this moment. Listen, it's Kira calling him, and when he answers without saying, just making sure you're in your office, and boom, kidnaps him.
It was so sassy. I was like, oh yeah, that's how you do kidnapping right there. No notes. Perfect. I love her. So the doctor's just like, listen, I just don't want to be blamed. And Kira just cuts straight through the bullshit. She's like, not here to blame anybody. I'm here to find a fucking cure, you dumbass.
Yes.
Stop making it all about you. Calm down.
Yeah. And ramps up the stakes for this guy real fast by basically saying, oh yeah, by the way, I'm infected, which means...
Yeah. You're infected. It was brilliant. Honestly, it was so brilliant. She played that old chickaroo. I really loved it. That's the best way also to get a narcissist to do anything.
Make it about them.
Make it about them. So she made it about him, and so now he's going to have to help. And basically now Cisco has it.
Yep.
And Quark and Odo are literally the only two running this station. Great. It's great. It's going to be fine.
Listen, anytime we put Quark and Odo together, always good. I also want to highlight my favorite line delivery in the episode, which is he has to beam Odo to the docking ring because the ship it's worth it. Jarheel's ship is being torn to pieces. Jarheel is down. He's unconscious. And it, like, I think they, like, get the cameras inside and it's just on fire.
Yeah, the whole thing is on fire.
Yeah, it's bad. The station's beginning to shake. So Quark's like, I'll just beam you there. And he's like, okay. And he gets on. He goes, I must have seen the procedure done several times. And then the line delivery is, energizing.
Fear in Odo's face. He's like, you've done it before, right? He's like, I've seen it.
And then just, the funny thing is, like, everything, you can read everything. First of all, you know right off the bat, Quark has done this many, many times. He knows exactly what he's doing, but he cannot miss the opportunity to fuck with Odo.
These two deserve a buddy cop movie immediately.
They have one. It's called the series Deep Space Nine. Like, I mean, again, there were several choices made from the jump of this show, and one of them was, you have the cop and you have the criminal who understand each other more than anyone else understands them, which is an old trope.
Friends. It is an old trope. It is. It's a great trope, but they're also their best friends. I love them so much. So Kira's got the doctor on the ship. He's going to find a cure. Stop complimenting the murder scientist, okay? Because he's also complimenting his old boss. He's like, God, this disease is beautiful. He was brilliant. Stop, okay?
Yeah.
Literally, people are like hours from dying. Please stop complimenting him. I can't take it anymore. So the crisis is spurted. Everybody gets a cure. It's very exciting. Could we now give O'Brien a raise? please.
Like a raise or hire 40 people to help. Like just have the Enterprise swing by and have their engineering crew work on the station for a month. That's it.
Team, crew,
yeah,
just somebody to help the man out. Also, maybe like I feel like there should be more than just Bashir hanging around as the only like some nurses.
We get this
hospitals work. Just saying.
We get this little stinger at the end of the episode where the replicator's messed up again, and he yells at him.
It was so mean.
It's so bad. A couple other things.
It was played for laughs. It was just mean.
Yeah. A couple other things I really liked in the last few moments. Again, I think this is a great episode for just about everybody. But Armin Shimmerman had a great episode when the station gets rocked by so Odo manages to release the docking clamps or blow the docking clamps and jet the ship away. It blows up and it rocks the station pretty good. Do you notice that moment that the first thing when the shockwave hits the station that Quark does is he dives onto Sisko and covers him to protect Sisko, who's unconscious? Very wordless, quiet little moment, but it's this little glimpse at who Quark really is.
Yeah.
Great moment. Also, I will say, I have to have his headcanon this, that had Bashir not gotten sick, that 10 minutes later he would have solved the whole thing. Because otherwise it makes no sense that this guy, who makes it clear he wasn't involved in making the virus, shows up and in 3 minutes solves the whole thing.
Right.
So I'm like, Bashir loosened that pickle jar quite a bit for me.
I feel like he probably, because he was on the cusp, right? Like that's what the scientist says. He was on the cusp of figuring it out. So I do feel confident that Bashir would have figured it out. But again, if he had an assistant, I'm just saying, like, we just need a little bit of backup, especially for our essential workers. It's the right thing to do. Yeah. Okay.
So we get to a question that we've already kind of touched upon. Did you like this episode, Kate?
I really liked this episode. I liked this episode a lot. I liked it. I did like it more than episode 4. I thought it was a much tighter script. I thought, like you said, they did a really good job of introducing a small problem and then continuing to raise the stakes in ways that made sense for the storyline. I thought it was really well done. It was really well acted. I had a good time this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think it's a great self-contained episode too, because this isn't really like changing the universe as it is. At the end of the episode, we're back to square one. Like the status quo has been restored. Look, nobody dies.
Nobody dies.
Which is, I think, pretty normal in shows like this. You don't want to make that step for a big part, but I think it's a great example of the crew both figuring out how to work together and still having some friction with that. And it also really gives us a view of how remote they actually are.
They're very remote. I think it did a good job of pointing that out too. And it did a good job of just kind of continuing to reaffirm some relationships that were already there, like Odo and Quark, and Jake and Sisko. And then it also it gave us again some more glimpses of like Kira being able to do some things on her own. It was a really good episode. I had a great time. Yeah.
I think one element I really want to highlight is the character of Jahil, because if you look at this from a storytelling perspective, he feels early on like he's almost extraneous to the story, but by the end of it, you understand exactly why he's been introduced. So you get his impatience at the beginning. You get the moment with Sisko where you start to see his fear, and that leads to the moment where he breaks. It's not a surprise. It doesn't feel unexpected. It feels almost unavoidable in a very real way, and it dovetails so neatly in with the stakes that they're constantly ramping up. I really appreciated that.
Yeah. It was a good episode. I thought it's a very good look at also what happens when people start getting sick and it's a disease that spreads and a quarantine. Like I said, it felt a little trauma adjacent.
Right.
For our current times, but that's one thing I really like about Star Trek. Star Trek's one of those shows that really does feel timeless in some of the stories that it tells. And this is another good example of that. And it's just interesting that it had to do with a disease and not with like war crimes or anything like that. But it was like literally with something that's very prevalent. So I really enjoyed it.
So that brings me to my next question. O'Brien does have a no good, very bad day, as we've kind of touched upon. So who are you bringing in from the Clone Wars to kind of help out during this period?
I really feel that O'Brien needs some support and some help. And I feel like he needs a good man at his side. And so I would say that that Cody should come in and help support O'Brien in his terrible, no good, very bad day. I feel like he's a good man. He's a man he's a port in the storm. He'd be there for O'Brien. So yeah, I would have liked to see like Cody there to help him out.
In our next episode, we're gonna talk quite a bit about Cody. Just structurally, we record 2 episodes at a time. So we've seen both the DS9 and the Clone Wars, and Cody plays a big role in the next one. I'm going to push back because I honestly think there's really only one choice.
Okay.
Oh my God, do they need R2? Holy God, do they need R2, especially in the last act of this episode? Like,
our little Deus Ex Machina droid who just fixes everything.
First of all, not going to get sick. I mean, we know this for a fact. And if you need somebody to help run the station, I mean, clearly he's going to plug his little weird robo-dangle into whatever circuit panel happens to be nearby and fix whatever problem's happening. Yeah. I mean, listen, like halfway through, I was like, oh God, they need R2. Like,
they really do. Like, the 24/7, I feel like we could say that for any episode where something goes wrong with the station, they need R2.
I mean, from the jump, O'Brien needed R2. O'Brien needs some goddamn help. So, all right. Well, with that, why don't we get to some honorable mentions?
Yeah.
I got a little time for that. Why don't you kick us off for that?
Okay. So as of recording this, episode 1 of season 2 of The Pit has premiered. I've talked a lot about The Pit. I will continue to talk a lot about The Pit, probably until March when the season is over. But episode 1 was such a great start. We had such a good time. It's a great show. If you haven't watched The Pit, watch The Pit.
I'm watching the first one tonight. I find The Pit fascinating simply because it feels like it does not feel like a modern TV show in a lot of ways. It feels like a throwback to like the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the reasons that it works so damn well.
It works so good. And I have 2 things about The Pit. One, everybody's real hung up on the fact that, and it was in the promo, so it's not a spoiler, but everyone's hung up on the fact that Dr. Robbie is on a motorcycle without a helmet on. And literally the helmet is strapped to his book bag. I promise you, that is intentional.
Yeah.
I'm at this point, I have decided to call it Chekhov's helmet.
I actually saw an interview with Noah Wiley where he talked about Gene Wilder.
He did. He talked about Gene Wilder and his choice to introduce himself in Willy Wonka with a limp and then do a somersault and pop up, because now you never know which way he's coming from, is what Gene Wilder had said about that performance. And he wanted to do the same thing with Dr. Robbie in this season 2 opener. But I promise you, we will circle back to the helmet. I'm calling it Chekhov's helmet. Mark it now. When we get to the season finale, we're talking about the helmet again. It'll be very important. But also, Eric and I were watching the football games last night. And there's like a new medical show on Fox called Doc or something. I don't know. It's super dramatic. They were talking about like amnesia, and it was so ridiculous. And it made me, like, for a second I had like blind rage, because one of the big complaints now that we're in award season and The Pit keeps winning is everybody's like, another medical drama winning everything. That's so stupid. It's just a stupid medical drama. The Pit is not like those shows. Yeah. To call The Pit something like Grey's Anatomy or House or anything like, it's not the same. It's not the same. And if you watch one episode, you'll understand why it's not the same. So everyone, please stop saying it's just another stupid medical drama, because it isn't. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, you and I talked a few weeks back, I think, about the way we have examples of shows doing something brand new that we've never seen before. Mm-hmm. And then we have a show that's doing something we've seen before better than it's ever been done. And that's The Pit. And it's terrific.
It's so good.
So I want to talk about a movie that I watched a long time ago, did not like, and Kate encouraged me to go back and give it a second try. So when it came out, I tried to watch, it was right after it came out on streaming, I tried to watch The Batman. I'm a big comic book movie guy. Like, really, really love comic book movies. I have issues with some of them, but for the most part, I really like them. And I like Batman. I always have. And I heard nothing but rave reviews of this thing. And I watched it. I got like maybe 20 minutes in and just bailed. I couldn't deal with it.
You bailed the first time, if you don't mind me asking? Like, what?
So, The Batman is doing something very, very intentional with its tone, which is, this is less a superhero movie than it is a film noir. And that's an intentional choice made at the beginning. I didn't really understand what they were going for. And so for me to hear all people Robert Pattinson doing the dramatic live journal reading at the beginning of like, the night is mine, they don't know that I'm here. Like that kind of, like that's legit. Like I remember thinking, I was like, this is just some emo kid's live journal where he's walking around downtown like New York in a hoodie and thinks he's the coolest shit ever. And I was rolling my eyes so hard. And I also, you and I have talked about this. Like, I genuinely think you can have a bad reaction to shows and movies and books, completely absent of the quality of that based on what's going on in your life. And I think at that time I was really in a bad mood. I was stressed. I just didn't have the patience to deal with it. But several people, including yourself, who who kind of know what I like, had told me, nope, you need to go back. So I went back and gave it another look. And I'm really glad I did. Here's the thing. I don't think it's my favorite Batman movie. I think Dark Knight will always be that. But here's the funny thing. Dark Knight is my favorite for one reason. It's Heath Ledger. It has nothing to do with the story. It has nothing to do with Christian Bale. It has nothing to do with it. It is because, like, I will make the argument that Heath Ledger's performance in that is maybe one of the greatest film performances in history.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find anybody who would disagree with that. Yeah. And this is what speaks to like Batman, is that his rogues gallery is so good.
Yeah.
That like most of the time the villains outshine Bruce. Like, and that's what happened. That's what I think the Dark Knight is. I think that the villains, I even think Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face
is terrific. Yeah.
It's terrific. It's a top tier performance because he's exactly what Harvey Dent should be, which is like that white knight of Gotham until he isn't. So I've
argued before, if Heath Ledger hadn't been in the movie, we'd be talking about Harvey Dent as this iconic performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I actually do go on record that The Batman is my favorite Batman film.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it is like flipping through a comic book. I remember seeing it in the theaters. I do think it's a touch too long. I've gone on record.
Yeah.
It's a touch.
The last act is extraneous, I think.
I would cut some of that. I do find it a touch too long. But I think it's like flipping through a comic book. I think Robert Pattinson is the perfect amount of pretty boy / straight up weirdo.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
The exact kind of weirdo who would dress up like a bat. Like Christian Bale, when I look at him, like that's not a man who would dress up like a bat. But Robert Pattinson is the man who would dress up like a bat.
Look, I think the thing I liked best about it was Pattinson's performance, because once you understand what they're trying to do, this is almost hysterically gothic. The first time he came downstairs in their home, and it's just
sunglasses in the bathroom.
It's not just that; it is the set design itself, which is okay. Go as gothic as you can possibly do. Okay, we went really, really hard. All right, triple it. Like it is laughably, just incredibly over the top, which is again intentional.
I really love Matt Reeves' vision. You could tell he loves Batman. Robert Pattinson has gone on record that he loves Batman, that he was so excited to get the audition and to get the role. He loves being Batman, which I think is important. I think you have to love Batman to really understand what it is to be Batman. I think he's a great Bruce. I think it's a tough role to do both well. I think he does both well. And my favorite thing about the movie is that it's a true second year Batman, which means that he's not good at it yet.
No, he's real bad at that.
He's so bad at it. Like, you can tell, like, when the epitome for me is when the car doesn't start. He's built this stupid muscle car in his basement by himself, and the stupid thing doesn't start. And I'm like, that works. That makes sense. Of course it doesn't start.
It's kind of fascinating because even though Batman Begins was supposed to show Bruce at the beginning, it never felt like it. Like he felt completely competent, like he'd been doing this for years. And I think one of the best examples, the moment I really sat up and paid attention, was the subway sequence, because that is not the way Batman handles a scene like that. Batman famously like attacks out of the shadow. There's the Arkham Asylum game that came out like 50, terrific game. But so one of the main elements of that game that I loved about it was, if there are 3 guys and you try just running in and fighting them, you're going to get hurt. Yeah. That's not the way you do this. And to see him walk in, the beginning of that, I was like, oh my God, this is not how Batman works. And then to see, it's hard. Like, he gets hit a lot. He gets hurt several times. And then the blueberry, oh my God, the shitty, smug, Arrested Development, like everything in that.
I love him.
Oh, it's great. I thought the casting across the board is fantastic. Jeffrey Wright might be my favorite.
Jeffrey Wright. Perfect.
Gordon.
Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Selena Kyle, walking across her apartment in her underwear and that tank top is iconic. It could be a panel in a comic book. It's perfect. It's just perfect. And I like I said, I do. I think it's a perfect Batman villain. I also really like getting to see Batman be a detective. You can tell me till you're blue in the face that Christian Bale was doing detective shit The Dark Knight. He wasn't. I still don't really know what he was doing with that bullet and the gun I don't get it. It doesn't look like detective work to me.
This aligns, by the way, with our podcast because my friend Josh, who is a huge film buff, he has always argued that Batman, quote unquote, detective work in the films has always been tricorder. It has always been this weird device that he has that they never explain how it works, but just magically gives him the answers. And this was the first where, no, he actually, like, there was difficulty. But, you know, John Turturro, phenomenal in this. I love John Turturro.
So good.
But I really want to see Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis is great. Great Alfred. I think all of us kind of like tilted our head at the casting. That was the one casting announcement that we were all like, okay.
Yeah.
But it totally works.
An unrecognizable Colin Farrell.
And this is my segue into saying you should watch Penguin.
It's on my list now. Yeah, I think
brilliant.
I'll check it out.
Brilliant.
So yeah, I really, really dug it.
I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad
you
gave it another chance because I do think it's top tier comic book movie. So
it felt very Frank Miller too. Like it definitely felt Frank Miller inspired. So
yeah.
All right. Well, with that, we've got one new piece of housekeeping note. So it is 2026, and the way Kate and I have been recording these the last few sessions is we watch both DS9 and we watch the Clone Wars, and we're recording these back to back. So after we're done with this, we're going to take a short break and we're going to come back and record the Clone Wars. The downside with that is because we're releasing bi-weekly, Kate and I have only been recording these once a month, and that didn't feel enough. I really enjoy doing this. I'm having a great time doing this, and so we decided what we wanted to do is we're going to move to a weekly release schedule. So this episode right here is coming out on Tuesday, day after tomorrow. And then the following week, the next one will. And then in addition, we are going to be releasing these. Depending on the complexity, there may be a bit of a delay for when the video comes out on YouTube. But you can follow us on May the Force Live Long and Prosper at YouTube. And you can watch those there and actually see our weird faces as we stumble through these.
Yes.
But we're really excited about this. We've been having a lot of fun doing this.
Super excited. And, yeah, I think it also give us a chance if we, as we start moving through the seasons, we can do maybe some more special episodes like we did with the holiday episode, have more guests, I think would be fun. So, of course, always let us know in the comments what you want to see. If you have any requests, let us know.
Yeah. And remember, you can always email us questions or comments at maytheforcelivelongandpodcast at gmail.com. But with that, we'll go ahead and bring this week to a close. So I'm Dietrich Stogner.
I'm Kate Page.
And we'll see y'all next week.